please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. The relief on PC Jewelers is short-lived. The stock is once again back in the red, losing ground from the top of the day, down about 5% just in the last 30 minutes or so. But you want to say something?
I mean, Rima, the street is telling you that, right? The stock went all the way to around 125. If you put in the numbers together, if they do a 25% approval, then the buyback will be nearly around 900 crores. The current market cap is 4,000 crores. If the promoter is not participating, then 60% is not participating. So only 40% is participating. The acceptance ratio will be as high as 40-45%. Even if they do a 10%, with a 10% approval, the buyback amount will be 360 crores. That's going to be rather large. So as of now, the street is betting on maybe, just maybe, that they don't believe that the buyback is going to go as per plan. Maybe, in fact, they still doubt whether the promoter will participate or not. And, they are very cautious with regard to that gifting, because it's not once that the promoter has done it in the month of April. I've just going through the disclosures. They have done it numerous times in the month of April itself. There was a 0.5%, there was a 0.4%.
In terms of disclosing information with respect to that.
Exactly. Who are you disclosing? Who are you, gifting it to? And is that person who you're gifting it to, is that person still holding the shares? They should have made that rather clear. So that's why after going to 125, it's come down back to around 106 rupees odd. Me and Rima, I mean, just as responsible anchors of CNBC TV 18, just be cautious, when you're trading this stock. There's a lot of retail out there, Rima. They said at 150 it will not fall, 125 it will not fall. And now the stock again back down to around 105. Just an hour back, it was at 125 rupees.
And it's interesting, even large funds are cashing out of PC Jewelers despite the big fall that we've seen, despite the fall. Overnight, you had Fidelity, which, the disclosure came overnight that Fidelity has sold its stake in PC Jewelers. They sold it on 27th of April. But the point is that even at these low, depressed valuations, a lot of long-term investors are taking the call that let's just get out of PC Jewelers.
And someone is
now down 5%.
And we are looking at Interglobe, Rima. Currently, Jet Airways is down 11%. As we speak, Jet Airways has broken 530 rupees per share. So you pull up the intraday chart. As it is, it was lower. Now it's moved to the low point of the day. I think the street's a way of telling you that if Interglobe couldn't deliver good numbers, then they are wondering what's going to happen to Jet Airways and the others.
Okay. All that and more in just a bit. For now, let's focus on the earnings which are expected today. Adani Ports will be reporting numbers. Anisha joins in with the expectations. Anisha?
Well, yes, Rima, there might be some doubts over what Jet Airways will come out with numbers or not, but the street, as far as Adani Ports is concerned, is expecting a stable set. Now, in terms of the top line, we are looking at a growth of around 17% to come at 2,600 odd crores, though the EBITDA margin is expected to come down a bit to 63% versus 69% last year, because do remember there was a forex gain of one time of around 300 crores in the numbers last year. That needs to be adjusted for. Even if you look at the profit number, optically it looks lower to come at 900 odd crores versus 1,200 crores reported last year. But again, the forex impact, as well as the fact that Mundra now enters into the tax bracket, meaning the tax expenses are expected to go up, is what will impact the bottom line as well. Now, in terms of operations, we are expecting a cargo growth of anywhere between 12 to 15%, making it sure that the cargo volume in this quarter can be anywhere between 45 to 50 million tons. Other than that, we know that the crude volumes were a bit lackluster a couple of quarters ago, given there was a bit of shutdown in one of the client units. That has, taken care of. Other than that, coal cargo was something that the street is keenly watching out for, because remember, Adani Power itself has stopped the production or generation at a Mundra power plant. 9 out of 10 units are shut down, and that's the reason the coal cargo is also expected to come down, and that's the key factor to watch out for. Other than that, keep an eye out on the SEZ income as well, because that usually is very lumpy and gives you an inflated number suddenly, and the stock reacts to that. We get the details only about it later in the conference call. Other than that, any update coming as far as debt is concerned, any intercorporate loans, etc., is something we'll keep an eye out on. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Anisha. Well, we're looking out for Vedanta as well. They'll come out with their set of numbers. The poll we have thrown up, but we already have Hindustan Zinc's numbers. that are already with us. So, you know, this poll could get deviated as well. And it's a sum of many various segments. So because of that, in fact, the poll normally is all over the place. In terms of what we have put up, top line, we're expecting a growth of around 9 to around 10%. Margins should see some compression. And even the profitability should come in lower by around 10% odd. Remember, the profit number is going to be hit because your operations in Goa are shut. So watch out for an impairment loss of around 1,800 crores odd. Hindustan Zinc, the numbers are already with us. Vedanta holds roughly around 65% stake in Hindustan Zinc, and close to around 50% of the profitability comes in from Hindustan Zinc. So besides the Indian zinc, steel, zinc, silver, as well as lead operations, you're looking at for the other segments. So for aluminium, it's going to help them because of there, in fact, we've seen the prices increase, and you have the top line growth as well. That's going to be jumping up because capacities have been coming on stream. Jasukada 2, that one in fact has increased its capacity utilization top line. But in terms of profitability, the cost of production has gone up. Alumina, remember, they buy close to around 50% of the requirement from the open. That's what will compress, you know, they have thrown out a close to around 1,560 crores odd is the number of operations in Goa have been shut. But Kotak, they have thrown up a number of 440 crores odd, and the business internationally will see a good jump in terms of a line odd. We could see higher production coming out of there, but EBITDA number could see a bit of a downtick. For Vedanta's numbers, more than the numbers, the street really looks at what is the management commentary going ahead, and that's something that the street will react to. For the last couple of days, the stock is under pressure because the dollar has shown some strength, so base metal prices have been falling, and that's why even today the stock is a little bit nervous. But let's tell you, how do you trade the Nifty? Ashwini Gujral and Rajat Bose are with us. Ashwini, let's come across to you first. Trade on the Nifty, would you look to be buying this dip? We're still down close to 50-60 points hot for the last couple of hours.
So as far as I'm concerned, it's still you know, an uptrend, and this is a mild correction. So that way, given that we've been selling since yesterday afternoon, so my sense is at some point there will be some strong short covering, because there have not been any sort of bounces also on the market, particularly IT stocks at some point should see buying. So right now we're long on Bank Nifty because several large private sector banks are looking good. So let's see if they can come back. So having said that, ICICI is a buy with a stop of 276, target of 290. It's held on to all its morning's gains and some more. Also, HDFC Bank, you know, in the morning it was down more than 1%. Right now down only 0.34. This tends to do well on days of expiry. So that is a buy with a stop of 1950, target of 1985. And Power Grid is a buy with a stop of 200, target of 215.
Ashwini, what have you made of the correction that we've seen in the mid-caps? The mid-cap index has been underperforming quite a bit.
See, it was underperforming from the word go in this rally. But that's how, you know, that's the nature of the beast. When they were going up 10-15%, look very nice. But that's how they come off. I would think there could be a resumption of the rally, but not all stocks will participate. So chances are the stronger mid-caps will participate, the weak ones will fall by the wayside. So, you know, it's best to remain with large, you know, quality companies for this year.
And just one last word, what's the chart of Interglobe Aviation telling you?
Well, it has collapsed. Maybe there could be some more, but if you are that, you know, buying in crisis guy, maybe 50% you can buy here, and if it falls another $100, another, you know, 50%, because, you know, aviation is not going out of style. And this very same stocks, they do run up, you know, 30-40% when things are going good. So when things are bad, maybe long-term investors should look at buying.
Okay, all right. Let's get Rajat's picks as well with us. Rajat, your take on the index as well as what picks do you have?
I would say that in the morning I gave a sell call on the Nifty, and the sell call still stands. But remember one thing, that 10,600 and 36 to about 10,610 is a strong support area, and so, and with Nifty 500, in which what I track, 1% higher is only 24 stocks and 1% down in that Nifty 500 is 287 stocks. When the advances to decline ratio is that much skewed, generally a rally shapes up and takes speed. So in the second half, I'm expecting some kind of a recovery, and hence I've chosen two buy calls. Ashok Leyland, I would put a stop loss below 161.40 and target would be 166. And Rain Industries, the stop loss below 312 and target would be 321 to about 323. Rain Industries and Ashok Leyland were attracting buying even say about a half an hour back or so.
Okay, thank you gentlemen for joining in. So buy calls coming in from our technical experts. Let's get in the early rates from the European markets. Remember, Asia had a bit of a wishy-washy session, especially Hang Seng, which is down more than about 400 points. The early rates in the FTSE, CAC and the DAX suggest it could be a slightly negative day for the European markets, so down.
A bit of a recovery is what we're seeing in the markets, close to around a 15-20 point recovery from the low point of the day. So pretty good going. Let's tell you who's contributing to that rally, that bit of a recovery that we're seeing. I think a few of these stocks, Mahindra and Mahindra continues to jump up. I think Yes Bank has cut its losses, and HDFC. I think HDFC would be the one that's a big heavyweight in there, and that in fact is sitting with a gain of around 0.8%. Most of those gains coming in this hour itself. So that's what's helping the Nifty fight back as we speak. And Venky's, by the way, came out with a set of numbers. It did see an initial downtick, but the stock in fact has bounced back actually. It's up, it's now moved into the green. At one point of time it was down close to around 3.5%. The FY18 EPS was around 142 rupees odd, so it's not really cheap, but the stock has seen a bit of a recovery as we speak. But let's focus on the next company. We have Ajmera Realty. They're in focus as the company is set to invest 5,750 crore rupees across 12 new projects in 2018. The company also plans to venture into other countries in the future. Mr. Dhaval Ajmera, the director of Ajmera Realty, joins us now. Hi Dhaval, thanks so much for joining in. Could you take us through your investment plan of this 5,750 crore rupees? How will you fund the same? Will you take more debt, or will it be via some internal accruals or some other means?
So basically this, this amount what we have said, 5,750 crores, is I can put a complete project size of all the, projects which is going to announce in this year. And this year being special to us because of our Golden Jubilee. So we are making these investments and project size announcements in all over, places like Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, Ahmedabad, Bahrain. So these are the areas which we are going to invest. And fundamentally, all these will be mainly through internal accruals and construction finance.
Okay. Good afternoon. You're also looking to capture the international markets. You already have a project in Bahrain. Which other markets are you focusing on?
Well, we just very soon be doing a formal announcement on that, and details would be out soon on that. And also we're exploring different countries also. So we are looking, because of our expansion plan and diversification, we want to explore to different cities in India as well as abroad. So we are, wherever we get a better opportunity and something which hits the IRR what we really internally want to have, that's where we look at those opportunities and try to explore our base.
Dhaval, if you could help us out, how much inventory has been sold in the 3 residential projects in Wadala? If you could tell us what is the average realizations in these buildings, and also by when do you expect to complete the complete inventory, in fact, to be sold out?
Well, total figures of realization from these 3 would be in the range of around about 2,000 odd crores, and we've almost sold about 75% of the inventory in Wadala over there of these 3 projects. And during the future course, I think probably in the next 1 year we should be almost sold out in those 3 projects, and that's when we will have one more announcement coming over there.
Okay, what kind of revenues and margins do you think the company will be able to do in FY19? Any numbers you can guide to?
Well, FI 18-19 looks promising to us because, as I told you, fundamentally, we are having these many, these big, huge projects announcement in the entire year. So definitely, sales will be our driver for the entire year. And I think wherever if the project is priced right and it is designed well, needing to the consumer requirements, I don't see too much of an issue. Yes, with RERA coming in, GST coming in, there were setbacks, but now things have slowly started to settle down. People have got more confidence after RERA. So once you are, within those timelines and the entire is within the framework, I don't see too much of issues coming in. So I mean, looking overall, I feel this year will be challenging, but we need to push. And the more you push, I think there shouldn't be a problem. So definitely a lot of push will be required, but I think we will sail through.
Dhaval, will you be investing more in projects in Mumbai, considering that the increased FSI in the recently launched the DP?
So yes, the new DP has been promising definitely for the commercial sector, because that is where Mumbai definitely needed, being a financial capital of India. When you have these kind of incentives coming up for commercial, definitely it will boost the entire commercial market, and it is the need of the hour in Mumbai. Residential also has been a good, they have done a good thing of increasing the FSI with respect to the road widths, whichever is there. So higher the road width, the higher the FSI. But obviously the premiums is where I think still, where when we charge premiums on it, the affordability becomes a question mark. So definitely there has to be some balance. So we are hoping that by the time the actual DP is completely announced and we have the full fine print in our hand, to have some good news and respite on that. But overall, I think it's going to be good, and definitely we as a group are looking at projects in Mumbai, because I feel overall now the market has become very sustained and stabilized and a structured market. So we want to take the opportunity in this market.
All right. Thank you very much for joining in. So that's the word coming in on Ajmer. A little bit of pickup seen in the benchmark indices. So the Nifty is off about 0.2% from the lows of the day. The same can be said about the mid-cap index as well. An up move seen in M&M. So that's recovered nearly 2% from the low point of the day. A couple of banking names are contributing to the up move now. So Yes Bank still down in the red, but it moved up. State Bank of India has also managed to inch itself back into the green. Power Grid, Lupin, add that to the list. Let's drill it down to individual stocks. Siemens is down close to about 8% in trade, a fresh 52-week low on that. They came out with their numbers, which appeared to be largely in line with expectations. Some disappointment on the order wins, but Anisha joins in to tell us what was the key reason why the stock is under severe pressure today. Anisha, the pressure points?
Well, yes, the pressure point is really the management commentary coming in the order inflows front, because remember the order inflow this quarter is down about 38%. But remember last year there was a big HVDC order that they had bagged. On a like-to-like basis, the order inflow is down about 4 to 5%. But what is really disappointing is the management see a pipeline of large and mega projects yet. They say that the government tendering of large projects in the energy business has slowed down, though we do see some private sector capex beginning to expand. And this is really bothering the street, because if you look at the base orders, they are up around 22%. The base orders essentially is an order below 100. But companies like Siemens to really get in the gross margins that they need, and that's the reason perhaps what is spooking the analyst comments. Kotak, for example, has reduced estimate by 6 to 8%. They've all cut their target price to 975 versus 1045 earlier. They do mention, the Deutsche Bank, for example, mentions of how Siemens has not been able to grow its large orders, while ABB, in their global numbers that they announced, they did say that the large orders are also seeing a pickup. So maybe there's a bit of competition also playing here. DB also mentions that there's a risk of return to single-digit revenue growth for Siemens if in the next 3 months they do not see any big inflow coming in. So the order inflow is really the pain point, but as you mentioned, the numbers were in line with estimates, maybe a tad bit better when you look at the top line. Back to you.
Okay, all right. That stock, in fact, it used to be a frontline stock, part of the Nifty as well. It even breached the 1,000 rupee mark, so keep an eye out on that one. To cover 3% from there, but still down close to around 8%. But moving on then, low management disclosure concerns spooked the Interglobe Aviation stock as it cracks more than 10% today. Sonia has more on that. Sonia?
the one thing investor community has a very low tolerance for is low disclosures from the management and lack of clarity or lack of transparency. And that's pretty much what happened with the Interglobe conference call yesterday. Now, as we saw, the stock fell about 15% in one fell swoop because the investor community just did not get any reasons for a whole host of issues that are plaguing the company. So it started off with questions on why the yields have fallen. Remember, the yields for Interglobe have fallen almost 5.5% on a year-on-year basis. This is the highest fall we've seen in a very long time. This despite Interglobe being a market leader in various metro routes. Now, the management just purely said that, yields are on a downtrend for the industry as a whole. Repeated questions were asked on that, but they paid no heed to that. Apart from that, the Pratt & Whitney engine issue. Remember, there was that grounding of planes issue for which Pratt & Whitney, the engine maker, was supposed to make good some of the losses and compensate to Indigo. Till now, we don't know what the compensation amount is, and even after repeatedly asking at the conference call, the management said that they can't give us any clarity on that. Apart from that, there was no explanation on what the future leadership would be, who the new CEO would be, no talk of Gregory at all, whether he would be taking over as CEO, etc. Also, no talk on what the future strategy would be. There were just broad statements on how the growth for the company would continue, etc. No clarity on the SEBI probe, no other details on why the profits of 100 crores included a financial income of about 248 crores. So actually stripped of that, it's an operational loss. Quickly, I want to tell you what brokerages are doing. Most brokerages have cut their target prices on Interglobe Aviation. Credit Suisse has cut it from 1650 to 1575. IDFC has cut it from by 12% to 1293. Motilal Oswal says there's very little room for upside, and Citi has cut it from 1600 all the way to 1240. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. By the way, giving Indigo company on the downside is Jet Airways. It was down, what, 8-9%? Now it slipped some more. It's a cut of close to about 12%, 13% coming in on Jet Airways. So continuing to slide on Jet Airways as well. Housing finance companies too are quite weak in trade. So across the board, you can see cuts. So an LIC Housing Finance is weak in trade. Diwan Housing is weak. The AAA yield has hit 8.4%, Nigel, which is the highest that we've seen in the last 18 months. And that would mean the spreads for many of these housing finance companies will also come under pressure. Again,